Yeah, thank you for the introduction, and yeah, thanks to everyone for joining us on this session today. Yeah, Pete, if you can move to the next slide, that'd be great. Okay, so I'm going to keep this fairly brief, but as Pete mentioned, he's asked me just to come along to talk about what is the importance of this Researchers in Residence scheme and the wider activities of the network that Pete's leading to EPSRC. So first, just to outline kind of our vision at EPSRC. So we're looking quite ambitiously to make the UK recognised as the place where the most creative researchers can deliver world-leading engineering and physical sciences research. So our mission statement towards achieving this is that we invest in world-leading research and skills to advance knowledge and deliver a sustainable, resilient and prosperous UK. We invest in a diverse portfolio, which ranges from kind of fundamental areas of importance to more mission-inspired areas. We support new ideas and transformative technologies, which are then the foundations of innovation. So we look to kind of really fund the underlying science and technology that will lead to kind of new products, new services that will be implemented and improve our economy, our environment, and society in the UK. And we do this through partnership. So it outlines co-investing with industry, but also kind of other research organizations. PSREs and the Catapults are an important part of the landscape that we operate in. And we want to kind of make sure that that landscape is joined up and we're delivering the best possible work as efficiently as possible to deliver national and global priorities. Next slide, please, Pete. So our strategic objectives, how we go towards achieving these, this mission and vision, I guess. I've noticed that the slides I've sent across don't have the actual titles in the different colors, but if we skip to the next slide, it might be easier. Yep, excellent. Okay, so we've got 5 areas that we kind of highlight as our key strategic objectives. So we're looking to deliver world-class people, places, ideas, innovation, and impacts in order to achieve our goal. So this is quite a high-level overview of the kind of things that we invest in to achieve this. But I think it's kind of worth noting that the way I see it, the Researchers in Residence scheme can be seen as touching each of these 5 areas, so kind of ticking all the boxes as such. So people, we're looking to develop skills of the academics that are involved in these projects with the Catapults through kind of broadening their horizons and trying new things. Places, we hope that kind of through this collaborative working, we'll be building links. Maybe that could be regionally upskilling kind of and particular areas and leveraging strengths in particular regions. Ideas, so obviously the projects that are developed through this scheme are kind of looking to push the frontiers of knowledge. Innovation, most of the projects that run through the Researchers in Residence scheme will kind of have some sort of output, whether that be a new product, a new service, a new technique that can be implemented. And then impact, so this is kind of based around focusing, I guess, our investments on potential high impact areas. So this speaks to, as Pete mentioned, the priority areas of the Network Plus being resilience, health and well-being, and engineering net zero. So yeah, these kind of being focused on these high impact areas will help to achieve our end goals. Next slide, please, Pete. Yep, so I just wanted to touch on kind of like, Pete touched on this as well, but just around the range of impacts that we see are kind of, you know, a good thing to be achieving. So, you know, these Researchers in Residence awards, you can look to push knowledge, so that could be making scientific advances or creating new tools and techniques. Obviously, we're also very interested in societal impact, so influencing policy, regulations and standards, creating new health and environmental benefits, engaging with the public and doing inspiring science to drum up interest from the public in the sorts of things that we fund. People, as I mentioned earlier, training and upskilling people, so whether that be at the Catapult or the academics involved in this case. And yeah, this can provide kind of career progress through learning new skills. And then also we're interested in economic impact, so job creation, inward investment, new companies can be formed from spin-outs and commercialization of academic research. Yeah, so I think it's important to note that I guess we're looking to we hope that all of our research that we fund or projects that we fund can work towards these sorts of impacts in order to make a better UK. Because at the end of the day, we are a UK funded, public funded body, so we need to make sure that we can display back to the government that we're getting value for money, and the things that we're funding is providing these impacts to the economy, to society, that are actually tangible in the real world. So I think the Researchers in Residence scheme is a really good way to kind of collect those stories. There's plenty of, as Pete said, this is not the first iteration, so we have some evidence to go back off, but it's always good to collect these case studies that we can utilize to show our government stakeholders, make the case for kind of further investment. This has worked this time. We've got an increased amount of RAR schemes on this tranche than we did for the last stage. So we're looking to really kind of progress this activity further as well. And these sorts of collaborative activities are something we're really interested in.